Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Let me turn this down. Hello, everybody. Tonight's vibe is super chill, but super necessary. Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Welcome to tonight's masterclass. Tonight, we're going to be talking about losing focus and what that actually does. In terms of choosing yourself, all it takes is one different decision to misalign you with what's best for you. But how many of us are being dishonest about how we truly feel, which leads us to a reality we're not even supposed to be living. So when you're out of touch with your true emotions and your feelings, you are then subjectifying yourself to a reality that's not even yours. Or at least you're living through hardships and drama and problems that the old you had to endure because you went back to those old choices, yet alone those old beliefs. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Because, oh my gosh, have I been going through it? Juggling a lot, but not in a negative sense. There's just a lot of changes happening quickly. And so now more than ever, if you are not choosing yourself fully, you will endure things that aren't meant for you. The energy here is moving us forward in love, which is great. But are you willing to let go of everything that you believe today? Guys, for reference, we're going to be reading from Love, the Real Word of God by Shanna Star. This is part 5. In a separate class, we already went through the chapter I chose to save myself, which was juicy. It was Shanna telling her stories about how she chose herself from nothing, whether that was drug addiction, a toxic partner, having no money, these things. Now we're going to pick up from that chapter because it's a pretty long one. It's a treat. So it's very necessary. So at the beginning of every class, I always just tell you guys what I'm up to and how I'm feeling. And I'm tired, guys. I have chosen to get to a place in my life where I have been depleted. I'm at home. And so in the midst of helping my little sister transition into plant-based eating, along with other things, just home stuff. I'm in the midst of a big move right now in my life. I'm moving across the country to start school. I'm selling products on TikTok Shop. I've just given so much of myself with the intentions to save everybody. And I realized that subconsciously that makes you not choose yourself, because I guess you're looking for, I don't want to say I was looking for love, guys. Maybe looking for purpose. In other words, do I really love myself, or do I love that I make everybody's life comfortable? Ding, ding, ding. Am I really in love with authentic Camela, or do I love what I can do for people? You know, and you would think, well, why is that a problem? Well, when you're not really helping people, I suppose because it's natural to you, but rather because that's the only identity you're used to. You show up, you help, you do. That makes you inauthentic because we're not meant to be on all the time. How many of you guys are helping and doing and serving all the time while neglecting your needs? This is not true love. This is actually the ego trying to fixate on an identity where you are needed and appreciated for being needed. Guys, I had to face, I suppose, many subconscious addictions, including the addiction to being needed, right? So as we go through I choose me, or I choose to save myself, excuse me, guys. we're going to see how to actually choose differently from everything that we believe. So back to my life and being needed. Guys, that led me to making a decision that I haven't made in a while. And I made it during my sleep. Just being honest. I made it during my sleep, which is proof that energy cannot lie. Any ways that you are feeling subconsciously, you are acting them out also in your sleep. And guys, it was that one choice, because I've been giving to myself, giving to other people, and depleting myself. I was craving connection and love so much, just craving deeper parts of myself, that I chose something that I haven't in my sleep. So that opened the door for old experiences, old thoughts, old torment, old victim perceptions of myself. And I'm hearing these thoughts like, wait, that Kamala died. But I gave her a rebirth based on that one choice to not choose myself. All it takes, guys, is one decision to misalign you with what's best for you. You see, what they don't tell you about peace and happiness and joy is that it's a consistent choice daily until we die. Because of where the consciousness is at right now on the planet, we have to be hyper aware, consciously choosing to keep ourselves happy, to do what's best for ourselves. Of course, it gets easier. Of course. It's our natural state of being. Happiness is a birthright. It's not something you earn. It's something you remember to embody simply by choosing what's best for you. And so that's the process, guys. I have been tired, giving, but this is where I want to be. I'm not doing this for any other reasons other than the fact that I love to be here. Versus me giving and pouring and doing. That was attached to an identity that was addicted to struggle, that was addicted to the emotional roller coasters of this path. Guys, we have to start being honest as we dive deep into what it really means to choose to save yourself. We're going to see how the ways that we believe aren't true. How many of you guys believe that healing is hard? Genuinely right now. If you have a notebook or a highlighter or a pen, piece of paper, even type in your phone, why do I believe that healing is hard? Doesn't have to be. Healing is only hard when you are denying yourself of the things that you actually need to do to move forward in your life. If it's masturbation, stop touching yourself. If it's going to that person's house, stop going to their house. Saying it out loud is just, it seems like 1 + 1 = 2. But again, we have to really be honest about what identities are we keeping alive by keeping up those old habits. So in other words, why? Why do you keep doing things that don't serve you? Again, guys, for me, it's because I was addicted to the struggle. Guys, the struggle isn't real. The struggle is chosen. Ooh, let me put that in my notes. Wait, wait, can I? Guys, the struggle is not real. The struggle is chosen. Okay, sorry guys, I had to type that in my notes. Yeah, y'all. Why are you choosing struggle? Oh, hello, am I still live? Oh, hold on, I don't know if I'm still live on TikTok, y'all. Sorry. Where'd you guys go? Oh, okay. Sorry, y'all, the screen changed. Okay, so that's the premise of what we're going to be talking about tonight, okay? Why you may not be choosing to save yourself. Because me, in real time, with a subconscious choice in my sleep, chose to go back to a version of myself that was absolutely unhappy. But consciously, I had to face that darkness and let it go again, to not give it a home here. Darkness is just love transformed, by the way. It wants to remember that it's love. So as much as you're running from versions of yourself that you don't like, you have to face them. Genuinely, with love and acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, and that's how we transform darkness. But I don't want to give too much too soon. So let's just get into the book, guys. This is Love, the Real Word of God, Part 5. You can find all of her work in my bio. It's all incredible. This is a big book too, y'all. So it's so much to read, so much to get into. We are going to be continuing the chapter I Chose to Save Myself, detailing the true process of self-love and the tribulations and trials that she had to overcome, serving as a reminder that she's just a human being that made choices. Simple. Okay, so we're starting off at verse 33, literally verse. She writes in verses. And we're about 2 pages in. Well, 4 pages in, I'm sorry. All right, guys, let's get to it. I chose to save myself. I chose to find gratitude for life itself instead of gratitude for comfort and money. I chose to learn to appreciate my mind in silence instead of constantly occupying myself with outside noise and entertainment. I chose to say no to the things that I used to say yes to. Isn't this everything I just said? Oh my gosh. Guys, if you've been here the whole time, if you've been here the whole time, you would know that I just said, wow. Guys, this is proof that her books will always speak on where you are at in life. Always. If you get this book today, in 10 years, it will resonate with you. I was just talking about how I said yes to something that I used to say no to, which changed my reality for the negative. She just said in the book, I'm only 2 sentences in, I chose to say no to the things I used to say yes to. As proof, guys, that this is what you guys need to hear right now. Stop saying yes to what's familiar. It's time. Now that you know this, you're aware that you are consciously choosing to suffer. It is your conscious decision. Wow. This is cool. Okay. I chose to evaluate the root of every decision I made to ensure it was coming from a space of love for myself. I chose to make opposite decisions than I used to create an opposite future. I chose to have faith in intuition over logic. That is, having faith in love over fear, God over devil. Wow, guys, that's a big one. I chose to have faith in intuition over logic, which is to have love, that is having faith in love over fear, God over devil. So guys, when we try to make logical sense of things and why they're happening, why are we being called to make different choices? Why? That is literally the battle between God and devil. Those are the only 2 energies going on, guys. I had to face such a dark part of me last night that I allowed space within my vessel because I didn't have faith. When we question where these dark thoughts come from and these dark feelings, and the question is, do you have faith that in the unknown everything will work out, or are you trying to control it? When you feel like you have no control in your reality, that is, to me, one of the easiest reasons why you go back to the addiction, the person, the situation, etc. It usually happens when you feel like you have no control over the goodness in your life. I can speak for that. That was the source of most of my addictions, including my addiction to struggle and overcoming. Sort of feeling like you have no control over the good things. But that's never been true. You are the good things. You just aren't choosing them for yourself. So in the book, guys, she says, I chose to have faith in intuition over logic. Guys, loving yourself, choosing to rise in frequency and self-love is not a logical circumstance. You will be faced with things that maybe won't make logical sense. They're not supposed to. The human experience isn't logical. It's beyond what meets the eye. Okay, so that's really important to remember. The second you lose faith in the unknown is the second you're giving power to logic, which is not natural to the human being. Explaining things and, oh, well, why is this? What do you mean why? It just is. Okay? When a mortgage and monthly bills no longer aligned with the visions of my future, I chose to let go of the house and bills that came with it with no fear of the future I couldn't see. I chose to align myself with my future self by letting go of my present self. When I let go of my house, I chose to accept the fact that I no longer had a safe place to call my own. I chose to learn that I chose to learn that a physical house was never my safe place. If it was, I would have been at peace. Wow. I chose to learn who I was without the excess material things that I thought I needed to live. When I left California for Houston, I chose to go on blind faith because my soul said I had to. When my son didn't want to leave California, I chose to respect him as a human being with wants, needs, and an individual journey. Now, guys, I'm not a mother, but I can relate to wanting to control the people in my life that I know I'm here to help. It's true, guys. When you know what a person needs, when you see their potential, it's easy to want to take control over their reality because you know what it takes for them to actually save themselves. But guys, here's the thing. The chapter is called I Chose to Save Myself. Not I chose to save Billy. I chose to save my mom. I chose to save my boyfriend. The chapter is called I Chose to Save Myself. So in trying to save others, what we're really doing, this all goes back to ego, is trying to control a narrative, trying to force logic and understanding over faith and what we're actually being called to change about our lives. What if the true change is actually loving yourself and not caring about the example that you set? Because naturally, you are setting an example. But when that's your focus, being an example, being a teacher, being the savior, you are not loving yourself because you are focused on being and fulfilling a role, a label. Actually, I said that incorrectly. You're performing. You're not actually being. So to truly love yourself, you must ask, where in my life am I not being authentic? Where in my life am I not allowing or accepting other people's authenticity? Same for me, guys. I completely understand the feeling of giving and pouring and hoping and wishing for the betterment of other people's lives. And that being the foundation of why you self-sacrifice. But all I'm really being an example of is self-sacrifice. You guys with me? When you are trying to force change upon the people in your reality, you are feeding the same darkness that you want them to change. It is not until you say, you know what, no, I'm not going to go to that family event. I'd rather have peace in my own mind. I'd rather have silence. No, I'm not going to hang out today. I hung out 6 days this week. I can take a day off. It's not until you start making those choices without fear of how you impact the people in your reality that you are then being a true example of self-love, which naturally gives the people in your reality a chance to change. But guys, like this, it's not about nobody else no more. It never really was. I'm talking to myself here. No matter how much wisdom you have, no matter the spiritual things you've seen, the things you've overcome, what you do today is creating your tomorrow, because this is the only moment that's real right now. Okay? So you can choose today to actually let go of other people's choices and to start making your own. Not to be some guru or some teacher for them, but rather because you deserve self-love without performance. Wow, that was just me speaking to myself. I deserve self-love without performance. I'm tired of showing up for people with the intentions to change while believing it's healing. Where am I loving myself? That's the true change. That's the true healing. Okay, guys? So, as Roshanna says, back to the book, guys. I chose to learn who I was without the excess material things I thought I needed to live. When I left California for Houston, I chose to go on blind faith because my soul said I had to. When my son didn't want to leave California, I chose to respect him as a human being with wants, needs, and an individual journey. I chose to let go of a mother's pride that says, I raised you, and allow him to choose what he needed at that moment. When I published my first book, my intuition guided me to buy 200 author copies and give them out for free. I chose to listen with no worry about selling copies. Wow, guys, beautiful testament, because I'm reading her book now, sharing them with the world. It's pretty cool. Guys, if you're curious about where to find them, the link is in my bio. It takes you straight to Amazon, where you can grab this book if you're interested. Wow, so she bought 200 authors' copies. Mind you, unemployed, left her son. Her intuition, again, not logic, that doesn't make logical sense. Her intuition said, buy 200 and give them out for free. How many of you guys are living in such bravery and such courage that you're willing to do something like that with faith that it's what you needed to do? And it's okay if you're not. That's why you're here, to remember that you can. There's no rules to this, right? This is a safe space to remember and to reflect on the truth of why we're here. and why we exist. Okay? When I gave away more copies than I sold, I chose not to give up, knowing that one day the message would get out to the world in divine timing. Didn't I just say? Oh my God, guys. I literally just said how cool that I'm giving out her books to the world. And then the next sentence says, I chose not to give up, knowing that one day the message would get out to the world in divine timing. How beautiful is this? And guys, mind you, I'm not pretending. I think I should say that. That part wasn't highlighted. I'm not skimming through the chapters before I hop on live. This, well, I did one time, but not with this chapter. I'm going to be completely honest. Crazy. Moral of the story, I don't know what's coming up next in the books. I just flow. So I think that's really cool. Wait, did I do this with this chapter? Okay, guys, by skim, I mean I flipped through pages. I just want to be completely honest, but I did not know that was coming up. Okay. Okay. When I was alone in a city that I had never been to and knew nobody, I chose to learn who I was when nobody expected anything of me. When I left my hometown, I chose not to mourn, but to rejoice with gratitude for my new path. When I had no job required of me, I chose to use every second of my day to remember who I was. So guys, that means consistent self-reflection daily. Daily. Don't be afraid to actually face yourself. I chose to use every second of every day to heal myself, mind, body, and soul. I chose to sit in silence with myself, to hear my highest self speak. I chose to stretch my body, to release blocked energy. I chose to break free from a schedule to allow myself to sleep when needed and to wake up when needed. This allowed my energy to return to its natural state of ebb and flow. Wow. What's standing out to me here is I chose to sit in silence with myself to hear my highest self speak. Guys, when I say that I've been giving so much, the second my family left home, and I love my family. It's not a tumultuous environment. There's no fighting, cursing, screaming. Literally, it's just a matter of your energy being pulled in different directions other than within yourself. The truth is, guys, I don't want to talk all the time. The truth is, guys, we're doing a lot energetically. As we choose to love ourselves, we are also helping Mother Earth. We are humanity. So when you say you want to save the world and you start to save yourself, you are then saving the world because you are the world, you see? And so when my family's around, I'm drained, drained, because it's a consistent pulling of energy. That is, again, when you choose to save yourself, now you're at a higher frequency. So now energetically for the people around you, you are constantly giving to them energetically, guys. These are the truths that spirituality won't tell you. Okay, I'll repeat that. When you are choosing to love yourself, naturally, energetically, you are giving to the people in your reality. They will receive clarity, thoughts, feelings, dreams they can't explain. They'll feel better around you. Why? Because you are serving them. Because you serve yourself. You are the world. Yeah? So I brought this up to say, the second my family left, guys, I wasn't dizzy anymore. My vision wasn't blurry. I could breathe. And this is no insult to them. Honesty isn't insulting. This is the truth of why we exist. You know, to be honest, honesty is love. It's so important to have that alone time to actually hear your soul speak. It's so important. Only you know what's best for you. And so when you're surrounded by noise, you are then in tune with other people's thoughts and feelings and states of being. And a mistake I made too, by giving myself, just pouring myself into other people, my reality became theirs. Now, what they don't tell you guys is that it is completely possible to be in the same environment with somebody, but to be living a completely different reality than they do. All because you are home with family doesn't mean you have to experience the same things they do. All because you live with your partner, your wife, your kids, your husband, your boyfriend, your dog. If you are making different choices than they are, you are automatically living in a different reality. So you can be under the same roof and have two different experiences. Their day can be chaotic, but you lived your day in peace. Naturally, you will be guided to stay home so you don't experience what they do when they go out. It's that type of thing, guys. That's why you always need to trust your intuition, because when you're living for other people, you are living a reality that's not even yours. Like I said, for me, I knew I outgrew chaos and noise. But because we're in the midst of rewriting our own stories, those thoughts and memories are still in my nervous system. I burned my hands today, guys, while cooking. Just picked up a hot pan. Boop, no gloves. What? I dropped the pan and I said, oh my God, what is still in my body, in my memories, that comes from the reality of other people that I have chosen subconsciously? Chaos. Chaos. Most of the things you are living are not your own in every sense of the word. Give yourself silence to hear your soul. Okay? You don't have to learn the hard way. This is a process, sure, but when you know better, why not choose better, you know? Roshanna did it. I did it. You can do it, and you have done it up until this point. That's why you're here. Okay, so good job, everybody. Let's keep reading. And honestly, y'all, my light is blinding me. I can't pretend to be comfortable when I'm not. So this may not be a long class, guys, because granted, like I said, energetically, I'm doing a lot. So just letting you guys know. Okay. Okay. So we're back to the point where she says, I chose to stretch my body and release blocked energy. So she chose movement. I chose to break free from a schedule to allow myself to sleep when needed and to wake up when needed. This allowed my energy to return to its natural state of ebb and flow. Sleep is necessary for transformation. Wow. Guys, every sentence I've read in this book is aligned with what I'm feeling right now, and I'm sure you are as well. Incredible. Let me actually turn toward you guys. I'm sorry. Y'all see I'm so lean back. I'm tired, guys. I'm sleepy. Okay. Sleep is necessary for transformation. A schedule will not allow you to sleep. when the body needs it, and you must choose to let go of societal schedules with faith that you will rise above that frequency of chaos. Guys, I did not know that schedules existed at a frequency of chaos. Of course, that makes sense because it takes you out of alignment of what's actually necessary. Chaos is everything that isn't necessary. It's loud, it's fast, it's discombobulating. That's awesome. When I didn't have money for food for 3 days, I chose to see the lesson in it instead of fearing going hungry. I chose to address the unnecessary things I spent money on that left me with none for necessities. Wow. Are any of you guys broke right now? Straight up. How many of you guys are broke right now? What choices led you there? That's all I'm going to say. The book says, I chose to address the unnecessary things I spent money on that left me with none for necessities. And of course, I asked that question with compassion. Of course, because everything is a choice. It's a mindset. If you believe that you are in a state of lack, you will be. You must have faith in everything you're being called to do outside of $1 and trust that you will be provided for with everything that you need. Guys, I had to walk it. I had to live it. You will always have enough for what you need. Maybe the lack of financial flow in your life is because you're holding on to the belief that naturally you don't have things. The victim mindset, wanting control. What do you want the money for? Do you want money for necessities? Do you have gratitude that you did have something to eat today? The focus on being rich and fulfilling this character, really, all stems from ego. The ego wants to perpetuate insecurity, emptiness, fear, control. When in reality, if you ate today, you are privileged. You had food today, so that was enough because it covered your necessities, hunger. You see what I'm saying? So maybe your focus shouldn't be on earning money, making money, but rather appreciating the resources you do have and then letting those work for your benefit. If you have talent, that's also a resource. And guess what? We all have talent. How cool is that? Everybody here in class can do something that I can't. How incredible is that? Are you using that resource? Do you like to draw? Do you draw every day? That is your resource. Do that. If you want to go play drums on the beach, go do that. Without focus on how that will pay your bills. There has to be a willingness to have faith in what you can't see, but rather a faith in what you enjoy doing. That is priceless. So are you really broke? Are you really poor? Or are you not living to your fullest potential without focusing on $1? You are the resource. Trust that you will be taken care of when necessary. Okay, guys? All right, lovely people. I think we got one more page. That's just what feels right. Let me see. I chose not to call anyone for help because this was the result of my decisions, and taking responsibility for myself was self-love. Ah, so even in the midst of her having no money, of being hungry, of accepting that she blew all her money on things she didn't need, she didn't ask for help, because taking responsibility for yourself is self-love. That's awesome. I chose to learn that I didn't need makeup and body products to show myself self-love. I chose to learn that genuine self-love was eating of earth and moving my body, which is energy, to rise to the highest level of myself. I chose to accept the fact that all I needed was food, shelter, and minimal clothes. Now, a lot of people learn this lesson, but it's just extraordinary in the way that she did. Like I just said, guys, all we need are the necessities. And if you're curious about the book, this is Love, the Real Word of God, Part 5. Okay, there's 5 books in the series, so this is the last one. Okay, you can find it in my bio. It takes you straight to Amazon. Well, you click the link and then you click Amazon. That's where you can find her work. I'm reading the chapter, I Chose to Save Myself. Okay, so that's the name of the book, guys. All right. I chose not to crave unnecessary things for pleasure by finding pleasure in my silence and presence. Oh, wow. There is pleasure in our own silence and presence. Not in the food, not in the sex, not in the stimulation, not in the phone. There's pleasure in our own silence and presence. That is so beautiful. I chose not to need to be entertained by finding fulfillment within myself. That was a state of pleasure. Logic will say that's boring. The soul would say that's all I need. Logic says you're not doing anything. The soul says you existing is enough. Wow. I know a lot of you guys may not trust yourselves mentally. You feel tormented in your mind, like you can't escape the negative thoughts, which is why you don't spend time in your mind. How to reverse that, guys, is to actually face the thoughts instead of running from them. I just had to do it last night. I just had to release darkness that I accepted. By facing the thoughts, so many fearful thoughts going through my mind. All lies, by the way. Fear will always lie. By facing them with love and compassion. By establishing that if I believe I'm powerful in love, I will be. All you're doing is facing yourself. There's no devil outside of you putting these negative thoughts in your mind. The devil is you. It's the version of yourself that didn't love yourself. You gave those thoughts a home. The suicidal thoughts, the depressive thoughts, you gave them a home subconsciously. So while you are the source of allowing these things, these negative feelings, you are also the source of transforming them. So this is how you're going to transform the overthinking, my loves. You're going to face every negative thought with loving compassion. When you think I hate myself, catch it consciously. Wait, no, I actually love myself because I'm willing to think different. Oh, wow, my heart is so open for you guys. Wow. That's how you do it, guys. You're not by yourself. That's how you do it. When you think, wow, when you think, like, damn, like, I don't want to live anymore. Whew, I'm getting head pain. When you think, I don't want to live anymore, catch it consciously. You say, wait, yes, I do, because I want to live a happy life. Consciously catch every negative thought, meet it with love, and establish that you are most powerful in love for yourself. That is how you transform the darkness within you. You have to catch it consciously and tell it the truth. Tell darkness the truth. Then it can remember that it's also love. Darkness will remember its love when you tell it the truth. You are God. You are the creator. There's nobody in the sky with a wand that can do this for you. It is only you. It is only you that can do this, that can transform the root of your negative thoughts and feelings about yourself. Okay? If I can do it, man, you can too. That's what I've been doing these past days, catching the thoughts and loving them. And then they leave. They leave. In the spiritual world, it's a misconception to meet darkness and say, you have no place here. Get out of my way. Like, to meet it with such negativity. You actually have to meet darkness with love. That doesn't mean accepting its presence. It means telling it the truth, standing in that truth, being patient with it, forgiving yourself, and allowing it to leave. And by leave, I just mean it transforms back to its original state, love. I think you guys understand. How beautiful. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. Okay. Back to the book. I chose not to need to be entertained by finding fulfillment within myself that was a state of pleasure. Without a regular job, I chose to make the most of my time by stretching and moving my body, learning its natural ways of being. Excuse me. Okay. I think I should stop now because now she's talking about her soulmate. Okay, no, I have to read it. I have to read it. When my highest self told me to invite my soulmate back into my life, not in a relationship, but to provide him with one last chance to choose love for himself and sobriety, I chose to forgive all he had done and allow him to become a new person in the presence of love. I'm just going to finish this off because I started reading it. But guys, as I read this, do not hear, because remember, logic will tell you things that actually aren't true. This doesn't mean invite the sneaky link to your house tonight. This doesn't mean, oh, maybe this is my sign to call him. Maybe this is my sign to call her. That's not what she's saying. She's saying with just intuitive guidance, she had to go against logic. Okay? She went against logic and she trusted her soul that said, okay, this needs to happen. It just happens to be in regards to a relationship, because I know there's a lot of lies and delusion around relationships and the people who aren't meant to be in our lives that we just accept. The root of her choice was loving herself because it came from her intuition, not from ego. And how you decipher the difference, guys, usually your intuition will not make logical sense. Okay. So when I had fear of letting him back into my space, see, she was afraid to even invite him back. I chose to have faith that there was a reason for it. when I chose to provide him with food and shelter for free, and also pay him for creating music and visuals for me. I chose to expect nothing in return, knowing that this was creation allowing him another chance at life. This is the last sentence I'm going to read because I feel like it's time to stop. Well, let me see if I should read it. Okay. When he used up all that I provided him with and chose to continue to disrespect himself and me, I chose to let him go once again, knowing that this was his last chance. And that's where we're going to stop tonight, guys. Solely because when we start talking about relationships, it can be too much too fast. And I always share with you guys, I will never just dump knowledge on you, because humanity doesn't need more knowledge. Humanity needs more vessels of love, more people who are genuinely choosing what's best for themselves every second of the day, which is saving the world, because you are the world, you are humanity. So I know I just read briefly about relationships, but in essence, that was still about Shanna, the author of the book. It was still about how she trusted something that wouldn't make sense, but she believed in it. And she gave somebody, whether a romantic partner or not, another chance at life. Now, if you missed if you missed last class, I believe, or the class before, where I first started reading the chapter, I chose to save myself, she mentioned that she knew that he had the potential to pass away due to his choices. And she had to walk away from him knowing that was a possibility. How many of you guys are willing to walk away from something, from someone, knowing that without your presence, they would not live? This is how deep self-love goes. These are the truths that humanity is ready to not only sit in, but embody. Are you willing to walk away from somebody knowing that without your presence, they could die? Guys, I'm not being dramatic. This is somebody's real life. This is somebody's real life. We are being called now to walk 100%. And now I should mention, because all things are energy, and I think she would be happy that I mentioned this. Let's just say that death is just a transformation, a change of energy. So when we allow people freedom in their own choices, even if it leads them to death, they didn't really leave, they just transformed. So we have to have faith in these things. To give people freedom to choose what they want is love, no matter where their choices take them. I'm learning that in real time with my family. Because I'm leaving soon, I understand that I've done my part here. But also, there are parts of me within myself that I need to let go of regarding controlling them and comforting their ego because I care about them. That is not love. Ego is the devil. That is the fear that wants control over humanity. So why sacrifice our truths? The fact that I don't want to talk all the time, I don't want to show up all the time. Guys, I'm not even being dramatic. Sometimes the work that I do regarding self-reflection and learning about myself, it's so much I don't want to make eye contact sometimes. Oh, someone said, what do you mean leaving soon? Oh, I'm moving. Yeah, sometimes eye contact is draining. Allow that. part of choosing to save yourself is allowing yourself to feel how you need to without needing a logical explanation for it. How many of you guys are looking for reasons to justify why you feel? If you're tired today, sleep. If you don't want to talk, don't. You are doing a lot more than you can actually see. If you pay attention, the world is always responding to you. Always. That's how much energy we all carry. Your reality around you is simply mirroring your choices and beliefs about yourself. That takes a lot. So believe that as long as you are actually choosing what's best for yourself, just know that you are doing more than what you can see, but you have to have faith in that. Okay, that explains the fatigue, the body aches. Sometimes you may even hear thoughts that aren't yours. Shanna had to remind me to not allow the chaos of other people to become your own. And when you speak to someone like Shanna, she's speaking to all versions of you, past, present, and future. So while I didn't understand it at the time when she told me, I'm living it now. Subconsciously, I have accepted the chaos of other people because I wanted to save them. Subconsciously, I have depleted myself and held on to this identity that was addicted to struggle because I believed that's how healing had to be. This chaotic ebb and flow of happy, but then sad. Babe, I think that's bipolar. That's not the natural. I'm kidding, but like, these were the thoughts I had, like addicted to the emotional roller coaster that came with an identity that I outgrew. These are the choices we have to forgive. I forgive myself for wanting to be something so bad for other people that I lost myself in it. I forgive myself for being overindulgent in wanting to help other people. The addiction to be needed, the addiction to serve, because I understand to a degree what true self-love feels like. The joy, the bliss, the freedom of just strapping on my headphones and dancing in the gym. Guys, I've been doing this for months. My gym has these big glass rooms. Guys, I strap on my headphones and I go to town. I dance. And I just know the liberation of not caring what people think. I know the liberation of feeling darkness leave my body because I told it and reminded it that it is deserving of love. So again, guys, back to choosing to save yourself. No matter what you know, no matter what you've experienced, nothing keeps your frequency high. Nothing will evolve you to where you need to be other than making the conscious choice daily to serve yourself. That is not selfish. Humanity has been pulled away from what love really means. True love is to do what's of your best interest at every second of the day, regardless of how it affects other people. Don't confuse this with selfishness. To be selfish is to usually be overindulgent and unnecessary. To be selfish, you're focused on fulfilling your wants. To be selfless, you're focused on fulfilling your needs. Okay, guys? So if you didn't know the difference, there it is. To truly love yourself, you have to serve yourself fully. The difference is when you're selfish, you're focused on fulfilling your wants. But when you're selfless, you're fulfilling your needs. So again, if you need the peace, the quiet time, the space Even most relationships today are suffocating. They're built on attachment, expectations, lust, ego. True love allows two individuals to be separate individuals, but then to mesh as one when necessary. Oh, my life ended on Instagram, guys. Sorry. Not so fast. Okay, I have to see if there's a time limit on Instagram Live. That's the second time that happened. Okay, anywho, that's the difference between being selfless and selfish. Okay, guys, so honestly, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was, hi everybody. Oh, everybody joined again. Hey guys, so my life ended on accident. I'm gonna figure out how to not have a time limit on my Instagram lives. That's pretty weird, but thank you guys for joining again. You didn't miss anything. I just repeated that's the difference between being selfless and selfish. Okay, so now we're gonna get to my final thought. And Jerry Springer, my final thought. Oh my God, guys, we used to watch Jerry Springer. ... Okay, so my takeaways from this chapter is really, again, the chapter I choose to save myself, or I chose to save myself. From also living it in real time, all it takes is one choice that goes against loving yourself. Whether that means going back to old habits, old people, old beliefs. That's all it takes to misalign you with love. Granted, as you're already on this path of choosing love for yourself, that means that you are being moved forward in love. You just have to have faith. That's the difference. Going back to what's familiar because you're afraid that something won't work out is choosing ego. That is choosing darkness. You're moving away from that direction for a reason. Don't just go back because it's comfortable. How about you move forward uncomfortably, but with the knowing that that direction has so much more for you in store than what the old one did? Guys, I'm living it. The old ways that I used to make money, and I mean lots of money with TikTok Shop, done. Because I'm done using my voice for consumerism, for greed, for $1. I'm going to show up here for free because I like it. Simple. Simple. That is what choosing yourself looks like. That is what choosing yourself really looks like, guys. Walking away from everything comfortable with the knowing that the discomfort is worth it. So I sit here in front of you guys and I take full responsibility for my own misalignment in my life. Again, if you're new here, or if you weren't here from the beginning, I mentioned how in my sleep, I made a decision that I told myself I wouldn't anymore. But because I was craving a love and I was craving a release, to be honest, from the choices I was making consciously while awake, from giving so much, I wanted to feel something. So while asleep, I made a choice. That opened the doors for me to walk a timeline where I was misaligned with love. So I was experiencing things that weren't natural to me, hearing old thoughts, old beliefs that came from a version of me that died already, but I gave her life again because of more subconscious beliefs about who I was showing up as. Why was I giving myself away to people so easily? Because I thought that was my identity. I thought it was my purpose. The only purpose we have in life. Yes, we do help each other, guys. Each one teach one. But the only ways we genuinely learn from one another is when we love ourselves. Then naturally you're serving as an example to the people in your life of what self-love actually means. Yes, they'll be upset. Yes, the ego will be triggered when you introduce different energy to their lives. When you start saying no, yes, it'll bother people. Who cares? Love them enough to trigger their ego and to give them a chance to choose to say no to their ego. This is how we're loving each other. No, I'm not going to do that for you. No, I'm not going to show up. I'd rather be writing right now. I'd rather be drawing, painting, singing, dancing. I'd rather be stretching right now. Your cousin's wedding is tomorrow? Sorry, I'm not going. Doesn't matter that we had it planned out for months. Right now, I'm aligned with stretching every day. So if from 12 to 4, I have a stretch routine planned, I can't make the wedding. This is what life is calling for. The willingness to stand in whatever you need with faith and with compassion. This is what it truly looks like to choose yourself, and you're ready. We all are. Guys, thank you so much for a beautiful class. Thank you so much for joining me. Instagram, so sorry, babe, it cut off. I'm going to get that fixed. I can't promise, but I want to see why they give me an hour time limit. Like, what? But thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, for the last time, maybe you just hopped on. You can find all of her books in my bio, okay? Just click my bio site. It takes you to Amazon. This is part 5, okay? I have parts 5 and part 1. So the very beginning of her work and the most recent work in my bio. I promise you, and I live it every masterclass. Guys, if you showed up for class, you know I'm being honest. Every time I read, I'll give my point of view, and then the next sentence will support my point of view in what I just said. If you need guidance from a loving source that is just you, helping you remember, this is the book. Okay? These are the only resources I've used on my journey. And guys, I used to be a mess. I used to be a mess. But I'm not anymore, thanks to her work. And guys, I just feel like sharing before I leave. We will have a live where she joins. We will. We will have a class where the author joins. But pending, okay? No expectations. Whenever it flows. So guys, I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful night. And thank you for doing your best this far. I see it. I felt it during this live. And keep going. Okay? And I will see you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.